From Reese Pfeiffer Hall at the University of Alabama, welcome back to the Frozen Hour for episode 4 of season 2. I'm Hannah Alpern, joined by Alex Brown, and today we're very excited to announce we have 2 special guests, play-by-play broadcaster for Alabama men's hockey team, Theodore Fernandez, and assistant captain number 33 and defenseman for Alabama hockey, Parks Wallace. Welcome to the podcast, guys. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
We're excited to talk with you guys about the men's side of Alabama hockey first time this season. We have yet to do that. So first, I kind of want to jump off and start into going into your broadcasting career, Theo, and just kind of was there a moment in your childhood growing up that made you want to go into broadcast?
Yeah, so actually, this is a question that I probably have a pretty unique answer to, as, with my story. Loved playing sports growing up, wanted to, what kid didn't want to be a college athlete, pro athlete? That was me, obviously. Had a nervous system condition, autoimmune disorder, CIDP, that basically, it hospitalized me a couple times throughout my childhood, took away my ability to play sports, even to the point where when I recovered, I still couldn't go out and even really be competitive on a high school field. So I was able to go, and this was the next best thing to me. And quickly I realized that now I like this even more than I ever liked playing sports. Anything to start announcing for my high school football and basketball teams, and writing whenever I could, working for a minor league baseball team. I fell in love with the production side of things, and if it weren't for all that, I probably would not be here right now talking about Alabama hockey.
Coming from New York, you talk about New York City teams as well. Some iconic announcers that you see around there. Who are some of the people that inspired you to say, hey, I want to be like that?
So Mike Breen has always been someone I really looked up to. He actually, while I was, dealing with all that medical stuff, he actually recorded a video for me. It was him, on the court with the mic basically talking to me, and that was just such an inspiration. So Mike Breen is someone that I always will really, really look up to. And, beyond that, I think Jim Nantz also probably, he's an inspiration. The guy does everything, Jim Nantz. He's got the perfect career. So those are 2 guys who I'd say I've really, really looked up to as I try to build a career.
Hey, there's no one better than Jim Nantz, I think, in the industry. Hello, friends. That is fantastic. Yes. You can't have a better opening to a broadcast. I don't think anybody's come close.
No, and he is such a recognizable voice. Anytime you hear it on, you don't even have to see his face. You just automatically know. But Theo, I wanted to touch on, did you come all the way down to Alabama from New York knowing that you wanted to go into broadcast, and was that what sold you on Alabama, was the sports broadcasting program here?
Yeah, it really was. As soon as I realized I was going to school for broadcasting, which was pretty early into my senior year, I fully expected to have to go to, a small New York State school, and fortunately was able to have the opportunity to come here. And as soon as I set foot on campus, first of all, I was blown away by, wait, this is a college right here? And then secondly, going and touring the DMC, seeing CTP and WVUA, and I didn't even know about half the opportunities that I have now, but just realizing how vast the student media empire was, that was enough for me to say, I'll find something to do here.
You've done just about everything. You've covered almost every Alabama sport that there is. Obviously, you've been involved with the Alabama men's hockey team, too. Not in the play-by-play duties again this year, but still serving as more of an overview of it as the director of broadcasting. But what has been some of the passions that you found sport-wise, other than hockey, even here at the university?
Just with all the stuff I've covered here? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much incredible stuff going on in and around Tuscaloosa. Some of the stories that I've had the opportunity to tell here, even I work at WVUA 23 News, and even some of these high schoolers that I've talked to, you interview a high school athlete, and one of the girls we did a story on, she plays softball for a local high school and is in a band in Nashville. There are just cool stories like that where you didn't know, no one would have came upon these stories. Another example, Doris Lemville, one of the best athletes on campus, right? She might leave Alabama as the most decorated SEC athlete ever. She's already a 3-time national champ, is going into her junior year. Like, she came here from Kenya in, a tiny village, didn't even start running till she was 16. Like, there are countless examples like that we haven't even had the opportunity to tell yet, that we haven't even come across. So just realizing how many cool stories there are, and how grateful I am to have the opportunity to cover them. It's been a blessing, really.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I know you have had countless opportunities, just like we were touching on, but what ultimately led you to Alabama hockey? What got you into that, and what made you want to be a part of that?
I was literally just thinking about this last week when it was one of the times that Andy was texting me about, coming here. And I was trying to think, like, where did this all start? Because I remember it was a couple days before the Bama LSU game, freshman to 2023, and I remember sending an email, like just cold calling the hockey team, because I'd heard that there was a hockey team from someone. I don't remember who, but I found out there was a club hockey team, and I was like, let's try to get involved in this. And then, a day later, I got a response that said, come out and PA announce for the Friday night game. I did it. And, from there, me and Will Zeke were kind of talking a lot, and got the chance to come back full time last year, and it was incredible.
Nice. I love that. And it's such I feel like all Alabama hockey programs are so incorporating so many different people of so many different majors here. And I think
Definitely.
that is something that goes such a long way, because I know I work with people for the women's team specifically who are like business majors. Mm-hmm. And in CNIS in our college, I haven't come across that many people of different majors because it's so hands-on and focused within our college, but to meet people of all different backgrounds and that sort of thing, I think is something that sticks out about the hockey program here at Alabama.
Yeah, it's been incredible. And I, for context, last year I actually, I called games for all 4 of the teams here at Alabama between just the whole year, filling in when some people were out, just across the board. And every team I was at, you just meet different people, and because it would be crazy for why would a finance major want to go even try production anywhere or try to work for a team? But hockey gives them that opportunity, and I think it's a really cool experience for a lot of people.
I think especially for folks coming from up north, like you and I, you from New York, me from Pennsylvania, I think it's great to see hockey alive in the South. People that are excited about, people that are passionate, like Parks here, about playing the game. It's exciting, and it's something that we feel detached. I feel detached, at least, from my love for the NHL and my love for hockey that I had back home. I can't watch all the games like I used to, but being here and being able to put that into something else, put that into Alabama hockey, that's pretty special too. At the end of the day, but I was wondering, what are some of your favorite moments from calling games here at Alabama?
Oh, favorite moments from calling games?
Yeah.
I would say, the coolest part, the number one has to be women's last year down at Aikens Ford in Georgia in the National. Seeing that team go out, and it was a really cool experience for those groups of players. But then also, I loved an event like that because not just Alabama, we saw all the other schools, and we saw how big hockey is for some of these other programs. Like, for example, Auburn, Auburn women's hockey has not had the best run to start their program. They've kind of been a lot of downs as they're a young team, and I got to call, it was the 5th place game for women's out of 6 teams. So not a huge thing, all things considered, but 5th-year senior, girl who helped found the team, goes out and scores the game-winning goal with 2 minutes left, and just watching the team swarm her, it's full circle moment, and it's just incredible that we get those kinds of stories, those kind of moments here calling college hockey at Alabama.
That's why we do it.
Yeah.
That's why we do it, for the stories, for the moments. And you've called moments from this man right here, Parks, as well. Parks, you're from Nashville, Tennessee.
I am, yeah.
Now, how did you find hockey?
Okay, so it's obviously not a very popular sport in Nashville. It's kind of like being down here, and I think that's why I feel so comfortable playing here. But growing up in Nashville, I believe there was only 2 rinks at the time.
The Ford Center?
No, that wasn't even built yet.
It wasn't even built yet?
Centennial Sportsplex and A-Game Sportsplex in Franklin.
Wow.
And how I got started, my mom was the team dentist for the Nashville Predators. And literally, I think I was maybe like 8 weeks old, and they were already taking me to games. And then I got to like, you know, be fortunate enough to grow up like going downstairs underneath the tunnel and watching her work on them and do all that. So I actually like got to meet all of my idols at that age. And then right when I was in on that, I was like, this is what I'm playing. There's not a chance I'm going to play another sport or try to, you know, have as much passion as I do for this, because it was just such a cool moment meeting all the NHL guys and then having relationships with them. And yeah, fell in love with it immediately.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, what kind of ultimately led you to play at Alabama compared to some other schools?
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest, I never thought I would ever be here. Growing up playing hockey, I played AAA all the way through, and then I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to go play in Aberdeen, South Dakota for the Wings in the North American League. And basically what was on my radar was like small Division III schools, and maybe if I, you know, got lucky enough to go play small Division I hockey at really small Michigan and small schools. And then I realized like I really wanted to do something where like I want to go to a big campus. And I told my family, I was like, those small schools and liberal arts schools don't really do it for me. I want to go like be a part of something. And I had a few buddies here like Evan Brown and Jensen Lopez who were on the team at the time. And I was like, I'm thinking about coming to Alabama. And they're like, dude, like it's the best time in the world. And you get to play hockey and grow something special and kind of be getting it going and being the start of it. And yeah, it was a no-brainer for me once I talked to them. So that's how I ended up here.
Nice. And who are some of your biggest influences to help you decide, ultimately come to the decision that you wanted to come south for hockey?
I would definitely give credit to my parents. I think they were a little shocked because I think they never even pictured I'd ever be playing in the South again. Like, I think my dad laughs about it now when he comes to Pelham to watch me play. Like, I remember skating there when I was like 8 and 9 years old. He's like, how are we back here? But just talking to him and like being honest and being like, listen, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. And just having my parents' support and, you know, even my closest friends telling them that, they're like, yeah, absolutely. Like, you need to go do that for yourself. And I did.
That trip down 65 is a lot easier than going up to South Dakota.
It's way easier. There's a big difference between a 17-hour drive and a 3-hour drive.
So how'd you end up in South Dakota? Because I know your last season in Nashville was outstanding. Yeah. Outstanding. A 23-game win streak.
Yeah.
That season. Tier 1 elite champions. Yeah. Like, what a way to go out in Nashville. And then your head coach takes the job at Aberdeen. Yeah. And was it just a conversation of, hey, come join me?
Yeah, kind of. He was, I mentioned earlier, like the school I was going to, he was kind of the guy that was kind of running it, and then obviously ran our U18 program. And then I played for him, and I had opportunities that year with like the Shreveport Mudbugs and Springfield Junior Blues, and then obviously Aberdeen. And he was the head scout for Aberdeen, and I felt comfortable with him and I trusted him, and he was like, you got to go up there and see it. So I went and skated with the team for a week and then came back, and they luckily offered me a tender, and I was like, that's a no-brainer, I'm going there. So yeah, and obviously telling my family like, hey, I could be 5 hours or 8 hours away, but I want to go 17 hours away. They were a little skeptical about it, but I think it was one of the best decisions I made. I got to live with the most amazing billet family. I don't know if they'll hear this, but you guys are awesome. And it was just a really cool experience with all the fans, and you honestly felt like, I mean, an NHL team in a small town. Like I would get recognized at the grocery store, and people would come up to me and be like, hey, great game last night. And I'm like, you know who I am? Like, this is crazy. But it was just really cool. And I think it also translates when I came down here and being able to like go play big games and used to, you know, packed arenas and having to deal with fans barking at you. But yeah, so.
Nice.
I'm sorry to jump in real quick. We're on the South Dakota train right now. What's the most unique thing about that place?
Okay, so there's a lot of unique things. They're known for pheasant hunting. So my billet dad was a big pheasant hunter, and
it's like a bird, right?
Yeah, it's a bird. And actually for Thanksgiving, he cooked us a meal, and we didn't even have turkey, we had pheasant. Actually really good, surprised me. I literally went out and killed it and brought it home. He's like, this is what we're eating. I was like, wow, this is awesome. But yeah, and then obviously the cold's absolutely miserable. I remember that year I came home for Christmas to Nashville. We had about 7 days, and it was 70 degrees in Nashville. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Got on a flight, went right back, landed, and it was -10 out. And I was like, all right, this is this is pretty brutal. But it was a very unique experience, like you said. I think it's something that not a lot of people get to do, and I had to embrace that. And obviously it was a big step moving away from home, but it was unbelievable. So.
And now turning to like your playing style here at Alabama and everything, I know you're an assistant captain. What does leadership mean to you on and off the ice?
I think it means everything. I think, just honestly, we have such a new young team. We brought in 14 new freshmen, or 15, I think. And just being able to show them around and show them what it takes to, I guess, be a student athlete and do it here and balance all of those things, and also balance enjoying the school and having a great time. I think a lot of those guys need that coming in at, a young age, or even if they're 21. But I think leadership looks different in a lot of ways. I think for me, I've kind of learned how this year to speak up more. As in the past, I would kind of be quiet and let my game do the talking and be like, I'm giving it my all, kind of show them on the ice. And I still have that, but I think I've definitely had to develop more of a voice in the locker room, and just being great friends with all the guys and showing them the way and being a good mentor. I think that's the best thing as a leader you can do.
What are some lessons from your time in Aberdeen that you want to pass on to younger guys on the team?
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of guys that play junior hockey, and I think the number one thing that I learned there is kind of almost to embrace the suck. And sometimes you're not going to want to go to the rink, and it's going to be gosh, I'd rather be doing 1,000 other things. But when you get in there and you're with your team, I think that's when you grow closer. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons I learned there to give to this team, and telling them that, I know this weekend we had to wake up at 4 a.m. and get on a bus and go pregame skate just to go to Athens. And a lot of guys complaining, and I can't say that I wasn't complaining, but it's those things where you look at each other like, wow, we got through that. Let's all laugh and have a smile on our face and enjoy this. So
you mentioned right there, going to Athens this past week, and same time Alabama football's there, beating up the Dogs. Yeah. And you guys had a run at the Dogs yourselves. So tell us what went into this weekend and what your experience was in Athens.
First of all, I really like Athens. I think it's a great college town, and it felt nice not having to go that far on a bus. But I will say the first night, I think we could have been way better. I think all the guys know that. I think we were better than them in every category. We just didn't play to our best ability, but same thing, we voiced that in the locker room and came back Saturday and got a big overtime win, and it was really cool. But I enjoyed going to the rink. It's a great facility. And it was just great to go get a win with the guys, and then come back and enjoy our Saturday watching football.
And the atmosphere with the Dogs fans there. Yeah. And I'm sure many barking.
Yes. Way too much barking.
On and off the ice.
Oh my, it's so bad. I also learned you can't say Roll Tide there. So if you say Roll Tide, you're getting barked at or threatened. But I love this school, so of course I'm going to say it. But the barking, I remember we were up 3-1 in the bottom of towards the end of the second. It was probably 2 minutes left, and we gave up a goal, and they tied it up, and they go through, a horn goes off, and then they line up, and then it's they do the sick 'em, and then they all start barking, and I was like, this is unbelievable. I'm not a big fan of the barking.
Do they do it to get in your head too when you have the puck? Is that something that also is incorporated in their game?
Yeah, well, I know our goalie told us there was a couple frat kids behind the net, and they were pulling up pictures of his ex-girlfriend and his mom, and I was like, this is getting a little out of hand, guys. But I never got. I know I got barked at going to the locker room, but not on the ice. I couldn't. I kind of tune all that out, so I didn't really hear it.
Yeah.
But
And big crowds there too.
Yeah.
For those games, which is, it's always great to play in front of a crowd,
it's
isn't
the
it?
best. I think my favorite thing in the world, obviously more than winning and playing at home, but like being able, and especially Friday night, like I was telling the guys that, like being able to just have them on their momentum, barking and cheering and doing all that, and then just to score an overtime goal, and like everyone's dead silent, and it's only you and your team screaming and cheering. It's like the best feeling in the entire world. So.
Yeah. And what's it like been like to go on these bigger road trips that you guys have to, like you said, Athens was a closer bus ride for y'all, but like I know you guys go super far up north. What is that team camaraderie like on the bus and on the way up there?
It's incredible. There's a lot of funny memories, and we get back. Like those memories I'm going to keep for the rest of my life. I think most of those, more than obviously wins and losses, are going to matter more to me when I'm, gone from here. But yeah, it's awesome. Like it's just like 30 of your best friends on a 9-hour bus ride. And we've all driven long ways. Like you've been in the car with your family, and you probably argue, but none of the guys really argue. It's awesome. And yeah, those memories I'm going to carry with me forever. So
You guys are going back to Eugene this year, right?
we are. Yeah.
That I take it. It's not a bus ride.
That is a flight. Thank God. But yeah, that's also a really fun trip. Being able to fly all the way out there and then, go play the Ducks. And especially this year, I think we're playing outdoors there. So that'll be a really cool experience too. So, yeah.
And I know you guys are taking a trip to Charlotte, is it, this season?
Yes.
And that's going to be an outdoor
Yes.
game too.
That's going to be
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm from Charlotte, and so to play in that area and like the skyline in the background is also incredible.
NC State.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're a good team. So that'll be a great battle and a good test. And I cannot wait for that game. That's a game that I'm going to remember forever. Like, I think there's supposed to be like 20,000 or something crazy like
smokes.
that. And just to have that, it's going to be unbelievable. I'm going to be basically in the Winter Classic, so it's going to be awesome. 20,000
fans, 20th year of Alabama men's hockey.
Yeah.
It's a historic season.
Yeah.
The alumni game coming up this weekend.
This Friday.
This Friday as well, as Tennessee comes to town. It's so much happening this season that really makes it the biggest season you could say ever.
I would agree with that.
Alabama men's hockey, which is so exciting. What does it mean to you to be a part of that and be a part of the legacy that's been here since 2005?
Well, I mean, it means the world. I just even talking with Coach Fairbanks, like this group that we have, I mean, he kind of wanted to reset everything and bring in some guys, and the guys that have bought in, it's been unbelievable. Like they've been the best teammates, and it's one of my favorite teams I've ever been on, just from a locker room standpoint. And I think it means the world. I think we're all on the same page, being like, we gotta, this is a big step here, and we got to win some games and kind of turn the culture around. So I do agree with you there. I think it's one of the biggest turning points of Alabama hockey, and I love the direction we're headed. So
now a huge part of the reason why it's one of the biggest seasons ever is because, for anyone who's not aware, Alabama's in the conference this year.
Yeah.
So talk to us about this conference and how exciting it is to get to, because NC State in the Winter Classic, that's a conference game now. Talk about that.
So it's really cool. We're in the ACCHL. It's our first year, like you said. I'm first of all just very happy because my first 2 years I didn't have a conference, and we were independent, so we were having to schedule our own games, and we ended up playing teams that like we really shouldn't be playing, or like why are we playing Drury and stuff, like small schools like that. But this makes it 10 times better. Like we got big schools in our conferences, and it just, I don't want to say the first 2 years we were playing without anything to really play for, because obviously you're trying to win and we're all competitive people, but being like in a division like this and something to play for and making playoffs and making nationals, like it adds so much more to everything across the board. And I'm just really excited to play in those games and, start basically not only beating them, but starting some good in-division rivals. And it's going to be awesome. So.
Is there a team you're most looking forward to playing against this season?
Yeah, NC State for sure.
Yeah.
I have 3 of my former junior Preds teammates that were on that really good team that we
Awesome.
had, and I'm just really excited. They're some of my great friends, and we were already texting about it, being like, it's going to be awesome. I think we play them here for 2 games, and then we go to them, and then we play the outdoor game. So I'm just really excited to battle with them for at least the next 2 years, and it's going to be awesome. So.
Nice.
That's really good. There's so many different series that you guys play over the
Yeah.
course of a year that really you can generate rivalries. What's it
Absolutely.
like playing a team like Tennessee or a team like Georgia, just out there, or Auburn for that matter? Because does it feel like you feel that SEC rivalry mixed in it already?
Yeah, you do. And I immediately, you feel it right when you get on the ice against those guys. We obviously don't like them. They don't like us. And you feel it immediately, and it raises the intensity of the game. And especially last weekend against Georgia, the whole time, their bench is talking, our bench is talking, and it's physical every single time. And as much as like you said, as much as I love the in-division rivals and all that stuff, playing Georgia, Tennessee, and Auburn, those games are the ones we get super duper excited for. So
I want to talk about your game for a minute here.
Yeah.
Define your game for me. What is your style?
Okay.
Is there a player comp for me here, or how would you describe the way you play hockey?
Yeah. So I've always grown up. I've always been a defenseman, and I think I've always had a little bit more of a skill side to being a defenseman. I love playing offensive. I kind of consider myself a fourth forward. I've always kind of run the power play and been the only defenseman on the ice. And I love doing that. I feel like the quarterback back there, and just being able to read plays and jump up in the play when I see it and contribute to scoring goals for my team or setting teammates up. I would say my player comp, my friends are going to give me a lot of crap for this, but I've grown up obviously being a Preds fan. I'd say Roman Josi, just the way he plays and up and down the ice. That's who I want to play like, and I've always looked up to him, and yeah, that's who I want to play like.
What a player Josi is.
He's pretty
outstanding.
He's pretty good. Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about how you feel like your play style impacts how the team plays overall on the ice.
Yeah. I think when I feel the most confidence, and I feel the most confidence in our team, and maybe that's the reason Coach Fairbanks, kind of helped pick the captains this year, is when I'm going and I feel like I'm giving it my all and I'm making plays happen, I feel like it immediately translates to the bench, and especially for the younger guys, even our younger defensemen being like, okay, well, he just did that. It's they're so competitive that if I go make a play, they're like, okay, I'm going to make a better play than him. And then I'm like, I got to make a better play than him. So as much as there's competitiveness within our team, I think it's great because it translates to better hockey. And yeah, I just really like the competitiveness between our team and just being able to lead those guys. And yeah.
I'm going to jump in again here because we've talked about Coach Fairbanks a couple times today.
Yeah.
I don't know if our audience knows the full extent to it. I mean, this is an Alabama hockey legend right here in Coach Fairbanks.
He is.
For context, for anyone who's not aware, he played at Huntsville.
Yep.
He played NCAA hockey with Huntsville,
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, the USA hockey rep for the state of Alabama,
Yep.
Just a guy who's done so much.
Yeah.
How special is it to have a leader like that and a guy that experience as a team coach?
It's unbelievable. He's literally, he's my favorite coach I've ever had. Just from the side of how much he cares for us, not only as players, but people. He always checks in on us, and him and his wife, Miss Tina, they really do feel like a second family here. And on top of that, with his background, he knows hockey so well. He not only knows the hockey side of it, but he knows the business side of it, of growing the game here. And I think that's really important. Yes, you can win all the games in the world here, but being able to grow it outside of the rink and getting people on board, I think it's the most important thing. And he's done an unbelievable job at it.
How much of an impact do you think it would make to have a rink here and to create that fan base in Tuscaloosa?
Night and day difference. It would be incredible. First of all, I would love to drive only 5 minutes to the rink and not 45. But
45 if you're booking it.
Yeah, if I'm lucky. But Yeah, I think it would change everything. I think I talk to a lot of students here, whether I'm out or whatever, like they come up to me and like, oh, you play hockey? I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, we found out you guys have a hockey team. Do you guys play in Pelham, right? I'm like, yeah. And then they're just immediately like, if you guys had a rink here, we would go to like every game. Mm-hmm. And the amount of times I've heard that, just like, this campus needs a rink. And it would be absolutely packed every night. I like, for example, last weekend, if Georgia was here and Georgia came to play us, like, I can't imagine that not that many people would be like, no, I'm not going to go to the hockey game on Thursday and Friday night. I think it would be an awesome atmosphere, and yeah, I would love if we had a rink. I really would.
I think that would bring so much.
I think it'd be one of the most popular sports on campus.
Absolutely.
Yes.
By far, too.
Yeah.
It's just so exciting. You get the physicality in it. You get I think for a lot of the northern, the physicality, skill, so much skating, all of it. But for a lot of the northern folks, it really is a call to back home. Mm-hmm. It is. And,
yes.
And obviously for the Southerners, an introduction maybe to just a tremendous sport.
Yeah.
That's so fun to see. What do you think defines the culture of your group? You have so many newcomers on this team. You have a lot of competitive folks on this team. What's the culture of the group?
The culture is probably the best culture team I've ever been on. And I'm not just saying that lightly. I've been on some great teams, but just like I mentioned earlier, the guys came in and they were like, immediately looked up to us and they bought in immediately. There's no complaining. They listen, they give it their all, and they're outside of the rink. They're some unbelievable guys. They're funny. I love hanging out with them. And I think as a culture from a hockey perspective, I think it starts in the locker room and it starts outside of the rink and building those relationships and wanting to hang out with each other. Because yes, we all got to go to practice and we're there every day, but like outside of that, being able to leave and be like, what do you want to do now? Do you want to go hang out more? And building those relationships with those guys has been amazing. And I think we have one of the best cultures in college hockey right now. And I think Fairbanks would say the same. And I think all of my teammates would say the same.
How would you describe the relationships between the upperclassmen? And you said you now have like 14 to 15 new freshmen. So do you feel like you guys have kind of like taken them under your wing, especially here on campus, but also going 45 minutes to the rink?
Yeah, I definitely think we have. To my freshman class, they're dumb. But we take care of them. I think we've had to show them the way and tell them kind of what's like, here's like even down to the smallest things of like what to do when we're not playing hockey, or what are some fun things you can do around campus, and to make sure that they're doing well in school. And just, yeah, like you said, taking them under our wing. And that, honestly, I view all of them like little brothers, like and brothers in general. But it's a really cool feeling just to, like I said, this year it's weird to say now, like I've been here for 2 months and I didn't know any of those guys, and now I feel like I've known them for so long. And yeah, just being able to give them advice, anything they ask me, whether it's girl related guys or any of that, just to be able to mess around with them and have a great time.
What are some of your biggest goals for this season?
That's a good question.
Personally and for the team.
Personally, I would say, like I said, just to continue to learn leadership roles and how I can reach every single different, personality in the locker room and lead them the right way. I think that's the biggest thing for me. And obviously doing what I can on the ice to help my team win. But as for our team, like first year in the conference, I want to make like a good, start to that and win games. And I think we have the group to do it, and just go ahead and make put an exclamation point down and be like, we're here, we're Alabama, this is our division, and we're going to run it. So I think that's the biggest mindset right now with our team.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's super important, especially being a new team in this division now. What do you feel like, how has that kind of lit a spark under the team for going forward this season in the games you're going to play?
So like being a new team in the division, I think it's really important to just, like I said, just be gritty, I don't want teams to come and play us, and I think they have in the past, and being like, oh, we got Alabama, we got 2 games, and like we'll get off the ice and have a great time. And I think for us, like I want them walking out of the rink just beat up and being like, I don't want to play those guys in 2 weeks, like, or I don't want to play them next year. and I know like the kids will bring in next year, same thing. Like I just want everyone to be on board with that they're going to get a brand of hockey where they're like, oh, I didn't like playing them, that sucked. And that's kind of the brand we're trying to build going into this conference.
I think that's the perfect way to approach it.
Yeah.
And that was Nick Saban's way of approaching his way of building up the Alabama dynasty. He wanted teams to hate playing Alabama, not just when they're at home, but certainly on the road, and they don't want to see the Crimson Tide coming at them. And I think you're well on your way, Parks, for your group being like that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, I want to touch on, obviously, the season started off with a loss against Auburn.
Oh, God.
So how did that kind of impact the team's mindset overall going into games for the rest of the season? Oh, and also, like, practices. What was that like?
Yeah, so sorry to everyone for losing that game. That really sucked. Obviously, we'd had a great record against them, and I think even it was a wake-up call for the older guys because we were like, this game's going to be easy, and they haven't really given us a test in the past. And I think even coming in, like practicing, going through training camp, I was like, this team is significantly better than anything we've had, and I think we were overly confident. So after we lost that game, I think it brought us down to like we can actually lose games, and we can lose to teams that we shouldn't. And from there, the practices are more intense. The guys are working really hard, and we saw it. Like we went and beat Oklahoma, which I've never done. That was awesome, and beating Georgia last week, and like we have a lot of resiliency, and I think it shows in practice and in games.
That's tremendous, and I think it's so important to, even when you don't get off to a good start, for you to be able to bounce back. It's not. Sometimes in hockey, you're only as good as your last game. Yeah. But when it's your first game, then that's everything. That's everything. And then you move on from there. Yeah. And I think you guys have done a great job of that. Yeah. But looking down the road of the teams you still have to play, what is the primary motivation, especially I would even say looking at Tennessee this weekend? Yeah. What's the motivation in these games? Obviously, you want to win these games, but what do you want to do in these games in order to win?
Well, I think the first thing is we got to come out of the gate. I think we've started slow in every first period that we've had, and I don't know if that's contributed to bus legs or whatever you want to call it. But our first periods haven't been great, and I think like this Friday, Friday being home, just being able to hop out first shift and like first 5 minutes just be all over them to where they're like, okay, I want to go home now. And like I think that's the tone that we need to set early. And then we've learned, like, if you have a good first period, like we did on Friday against Georgia, where like you feel way more in control of the game and you just feel like everything's coming your way, and then they don't want to play another 2 periods after you if you start fast. So I think that's the biggest thing, is especially this Friday, starting fast, getting off to a good start.
Yeah, and like Alex said, you're only as good as your last game. What did that overtime win against Georgia mean to you guys?
That was awesome. It was just a great game by us. I think in the third period they started giving it to us a little bit, and we kind of fell off. And just to feel like it was down on the bench, but we, like I said, this group has so much resiliency of being like, okay, no, we're still fine. We're still better than you guys. We're going to go out here and win this game. And just to feel that and win, and the barking stopped, it was a great feeling. And I think there's many more to come this year. Hopefully not in overtime and that scary, but same thing. Like our group doesn't get real low and we don't get too high. We kind of stay right in the middle, and I think that's really important for us.
So no barking back at the fans as you guys are leaving the rink, or do we have a little bit of that?
I think there was a few words exchanged in the hallway with them barking at us. I believe we were telling them to, I'll put it nicely, just be quiet. But yeah, I didn't bark back at them.
Because I'll tell you, as I was leaving Sanford Stadium as a fan, man, we were barking at everyone.
I bet that feels good. I do love beating that school, especially in football.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, both teams came out of Athens this weekend winners.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
And I want to frame a question to both of you. What's your favorite hockey memory? If you can go back to your childhood on this, or even either watching or playing, what would it be for y'all?
The silence.
It's a silence. Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's a
To
great
think in.
question.
It's a contemplative question.
I have too many.
I'll give you a little longer to think.
Okay,
because
you got
you
it.
have a much
You
deeper
got it.
relationship with the sport than I do. But for me, I would say, I mean, my parents really were never huge hockey fans, so my love of hockey had to come on my own.
Yes.
And that really came for me in 2015, just watching the Rangers make their run to the Cup. And obviously that series did not end well. We don't talk about that part. But just watching that, I mean, I have vivid memories from that Eastern Conference final against Tampa, and that's really where it started for me. You know, I had very little, if any, background in the sport before that, and you watch that run, and, you know, it's out of all my favorite teams that I've ever watched, that 2015 New York squad is very high on that list.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm going to take it way back. I was like, my first like core memory of being down there with my mom and like getting to meet the players. There was one player in particular. He had a very long career, Scott Hartnell. And I used to play, he would bring me his broken like sticks, and then we would cut them and I would use them to just play down there in between intermissions, and when we would go down to get some food. And I just remember doing that, and then after the games he would come and like grab his stick and pass with me and shoot with me, and I was like 4 years old, and it was an NHLer passing to me. So I think that's my core memory of just like that right there. When I play hockey now, I think about like when it does suck, it's like that same kid loved it so much and it's still in me. So I think that's my core perfect hockey memory when I think about hockey.
What do you think your hockey career is going to look like when your time at Alabama comes to an end?
I plan on going to dental school, so I think after this I'm going to be done. But I'm just, you know, it does get a little sad for playing since I was like 4 years old, and I'm like, wow, I only really have 2 years left of playing here. But I'm just trying to enjoy every single day that I get to skate. And yeah, I hope to still have, you know, whatever the new guys need when I'm gone, and I have relationships still on the team. I want them to call me and ask me questions, and I'll obviously come back and visit. So it'll be really cool.
Is there going to be an Alabama hockey discount at the dental practice one day?
Yes, I've already told all the boys. I don't know how much I'm getting myself into. I don't know if I'm going to make any money because I'm going to be giving away free dental to all the guys. But yes, I think there definitely will be. I'm going to have to work that in.
And Theo, where do you see your career in broadcasting going from like 5 years from now? Where do you want to see yourself?
I think, you know, we were talking about this pre-show. I want to be Stephen A. one day. I love writing. It's one of my favorite things to do. I want to be a beat reporter covering a team, but then, you know, I want to go on ESPN. I want to talk about, break it down, or some kind of station. So, quite frankly, I don't know where I'm going to be in 5, 10, 50 years, but you know, I'm going to keep working towards that goal, and, you know, I think I'm just at a point in my life where I've started to recognize just how blessed I am to get paid to watch sports and talk about sports. You know, that's everything I've ever wanted, so I'm grateful no matter where this journey takes me.
And I think both of you as juniors have done an amazing job in your respective fields already. In hockey, in journalism, in broadcasting. I think it's outstanding what you guys have done already, and I think the future is really limitless for both of you. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what the season looks like for you. I can't wait to see what you do next, how your writing continues as well, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. The future's awesome, isn't it?
Yes, it's an exciting thing to think about.
Yeah.
But we always end with a fun topic. And so today's question is, if you could play on the ice with any NHL team from any time period, like Theo, I know you were talking about 2015 Rangers, who would it be?
Okay, so I have to get this out of the way. This might ensure that I'm not invited back on this program. I cannot ice skate. I cannot skate.
I can't either.
Okay.
Pretend you can't skate beautifully.
Pretend
imagine you're an unbelievable
Yeah.
hockey player. Who are you playing with?
I mean, realistically, I want to be on one of those mid-2010s Rangers teams. I mean, those are my best memories watching hockey. But if we're making this fun, you put me in the 1920 NHL. You get me on one of those squads. You get me on the Quebec Nordiques or any of those old teams.
Yeah.
It's Wild West, man. You can do whatever you want. You can play an unrecognizable sport. I mean, I think that the fun of that overmatches anything. I mean, that's the dream right there.
Nice.
Gosh, I got to go with, we were talking about it pre-show because he's a Penguins fan, but I think the 2017 Nashville Predators that made it to the Stanley Cup final, I think if they would have had me, we would have won the cup. So I remember being, I think I was like 15 watching that and just being incredibly heartbroken, but I think that would have been the team I would have loved to play on, because that city, when it was going and they were on a run, it was actually incredible. I wish I would have been old enough to more enjoy the bars on Broadway and get to experience that, but it was incredible. So.
In Bridgestone Arena, where they play, it was outstanding.
Yeah.
It was like a soccer crowd.
It really was.
They wouldn't stop talking.
You couldn't play that. You really couldn't. Yeah. It was so loud in that arena that it was difficult for any opposing team to play in. Yeah. They would have they have concerts in between periods, which is outstanding. Yeah. I know as a Penguins fan, that 2017 was a little bit nerve-wracking, especially when we lost Game 5. Predators won Game 5. No, we won Game 5.
You won Game 5, yeah.
It was 2-2, and then we won Game 5 in Pittsburgh. It was scary going back for Game 6. I mean, obviously you're confident you don't want to be down 3-2 in this in that series. I mean, down 3-2 in that series. But to go and play in Smash Mouth, I mean, it's tough to play.
Yeah,
it's tough to play. And what was it called? It wasn't called Smash Mouth. What was it called? That's the band.
Oh, Smashville.
Smashville.
Yeah.
Smashville.
Which I don't even know where that came from. But like now there's a ton of hats with Smash on them, and I'm like, what? Where did that come from? Yeah, where did it come from?
It doesn't sound like hockey anymore.
I know. Yeah. Like, all right.
But I would go back to the 2009 Stanley Cup Pittsburgh Penguins team. That was my first memory I've had of watching hockey, was watching that Game 7 against the Detroit Red Wings in Detroit, and Marc-Andre Fleury's amazing save against Nicholas Lindstrom to win that game. At the buzzer, Maxime Talbot scored 2 goals in that game after an amazing playoffs for him, and I think I would go back and I would want to be on the ice with that team.
Nice. I personally am a huge Bruins fan.
Oh gosh.
So I would say back when we had like Marchand and like we were still like we had like Low Ride, just gotten him, I think that would be like peak. That would be my time. And anything playing in TD Garden is so special.
That place is pretty cool.
That place is like incredible, and like the banners, you look up at the rafters, it's incredible, and the history of that team is also amazing as well. So. Well, next week we will be previewing the Alabama women's team home opener against Georgia with an Alabama women's player. We're looking forward to that episode, so you don't want to miss that. But that wraps up episode 4 of season 2 of the Alabama Frozen Hour. For our special guests, Theodore Fernandez and Parks Wallace, my co-host Alex Brown, I'm Hannah Alpern saying see you so long and see you next week, and roll tide.
Roll tide.
Roll tide.
Roll Tide.